Hello, everybody, and welcome to Poland Daily Travel, where we are winding up in the sitting room at the palatial Nicholas Richardson
if only it were true. Not very palatial.
domicile here in North Warsaw.
North Warsaw.
Bielany.
Bielany, yes.
If you write in carefully to me on Poland Daily Travel on Facebook, I will, for those fans, I will get you the address so you can come and worship outside. Because this man, if I only had a ball of clay and could model like he did with the dough, it would be incredible.
Yes, it will, yes. But you've got to knead the dough properly.
I got to stop teasing you because it's very good food. And
You've had it.
I want seconds.
You've had the bread, you've had the...
Yeah, I had the roll was excellent with some
cheese,
English cheddar cheese.
Exactly, but nice and soft, wasn't it?
It was great. Yeah.
Exactly.
The roll was perfect. It was better than what I got this morning at the bakery.
But it would be, because at home, as you saw, there were only a few natural ingredients in it. Whereas in commercial
well, they're making a huge amount for a lot of people.
And
it has to waste, I mean, it has to be good for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So they
for
put chemicals in and all sorts of things. If you buy it in the supermarkets as well. So
I wonder what they put in those breads to make them stay. I mean, they don't stay very good for longer than a day, but still to stay kind of good for a day.
These stay okay for 2 days, actually.
Do they really? So maybe it's the opposite. That if the more natural,
they probably don't put olive oil in, for example.
They don't probably. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's maybe some more expensive things.
Some cheaper version of something.
Yeah.
But what got you catering for a different market?
What got you interested in cooking? That's what I wanted to find out.
I've always cooked a bit, ever since I left university, but not very much, obviously.
When you live on your own, I've had to learn to cook a bit.
Obviously, at university, I didn't do any cooking at all.
Over time, when I was by myself.
And then when you live on your own, you do, and then you go through life, and sometimes there's somebody else to do the cooking for you.
Yeah.
And then I sort of, it's a long story, then became responsible for feeding the boys about a year ago. And I just started doing what I knew how to do. Then I thought, this is a bit boring, they can't live on one dish. So I got some cookbooks out and started following the instructions, and they seemed to like it. And then there were things that I was just curious about. For example, I had never cooked pastry before, ever, in my life, until January of this year, when the eldest one said, oh, could I make some lemon meringue pie, like my mother used to make? Well, my mother died before I asked her for the recipe. Never thinking I'd need a recipe for lemon meringue pie. So I found a video on the internet and followed the instructions, and miraculously it actually worked.
It's amazing when that happens. You do think, I can't do that.
Exactly.
And then it's like,
because
so many things are like that.
I've got to make the pastry, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you've got to make the lemon interior. Then you've got to make the meringue, and of course whisking eggs to get meringues, the egg whites right. Getting the egg white, separating it from the yolk.
You have to whisk the eggs properly.
But if you get even a smidgen of yolk in the egg white, it just it won't work at all. So that was, for a first timer, that was I was very happy with that. I mean, I was using slightly the wrong size flan tin, so I could have had a bit more meringue on top to compensate. And from there, I just looked at other things I quite fancied. Baking, I think before Christmas I baked a sponge cake. And then after Christmas, and then with the lockdown, of course.
No, I mean, this is when you really came into your own.
Yeah, well, I
started getting something of a YouTube following.
Well, only because, I was only on Facebook.
Not YouTube, but Facebook.
Yes, only because there's this Rock Your Lockdown.
This will be the start of the YouTube.
And then on the one day, they said, in the early days, why don't everybody post a picture of something Italian they've cooked? So I posted a lasagna, which I must admit my lasagnas are good. The boys love the lasagna. And it looked very nice in the photograph.
Well, are they like boys who'll eat anything? Because when I was a teenager, I would eat anything.
I mean, I make curries because they really like curries, but they don't like the spice coriander, so I don't put coriander in them.
Okay.
And as you do it, you do more. And then one day I thought, tart tatin. I want to have a go at tart tatin. It can't be difficult.
Why did you think that wouldn't be difficult? It seems to me it would be.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I thought, I must have a go at tart tatin. I thought this would... you set yourself these targets and you think, well, this is a sort of, if I can do a tart tatin, it probably means I can do other more complicated stuff. Because as you saw in the process, it's not difficult, but it's not actually straightforward, and there are a number of things which can go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make sure the pastry is...
Yeah, and also...
Comes out okay.
Yeah, and as you saw, rolling out the pastry is not easy. I mean, I still have to spend a lot of...
You spend a lot of time doing that.
I have to develop my pastry making skills, because when you see it on television, it always looks perfect. It comes out of the out of the fridge in a nice round disc. They just roll it a couple of times, and they end up with a perfect round thing. As you saw, mine was tearing a bit. But as I say, my sister has been doing this for donkey's years, and who is a very good cook like my mother was. She said her pastry is exactly the same. So I don't know how, when you watch a French chef doing it, what they're doing to make it so perfect. And then, as I say, on the tartare, you can go on YouTube and you'll find a video of Jamie Oliver making a tartare, and he uses pastry bought in the supermarket.
It's crazy, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not. People are. It's better you buy the pastry in the supermarket and make something at home than you don't cook at all.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you eat to live or live to eat? Because one of my English relatives used to say, when she was an old lady, she used to say, "Oh, I eat to live," but then I've always kind of just been eating to live. Or do you live to eat?
No, well, we all eat to live. But I've become more, as I've done more cooking myself, I've become more interested in it.
But you see that what I'm getting at is like, yeah, I mean, now you're more living to eat in a sense, because when you become more artistic, right?
Exactly, and also when you have to cook every day and think of what to cook, you do become more involved in it. It does become more of your daily focus. It
becomes more of a pleasure. Why do you think cooking programs are so popular?
Well, I think they're popular for two reasons. I mean, I think television companies like making them because it's cheap television, essentially. But that would apply to large commercials.
And everybody has to eat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think people just seem to enjoy the idea of nice food, and they inspire.
And the process of doing it.
And a lot of people watch cooking shows and never cook anything, bizarrely. But I think it's just the idea of eating nice food is very appealing.
It's quite humanizing as well, watching somebody do it, I suppose.
Yes, and often, and I've been surprised that some things have been much simpler than I thought they would be. Or things have turned out surprisingly well. Like the lemon meringue pie, which was the first time I'd ever made pastry in my life, and it tasted
art you can eat.
It's art you can eat. Yes.
In a sense, isn't it?
It is.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe that's
You're
it.
creating art that
and
you can
eat. So that's why I think people like that of being able to cook good food.
Sure
and often it's very. I think there's a misconception. A lot of people think, oh, it's difficult to cook. You can't do this. You can't do that. It takes too much time. But there are dishes you can make where, if we were sitting here now and we wanted a pizza, we could go to the kitchen, switch on the oven, wait 10 minutes for it to heat up, get the frozen pizza out of the freezer, put it in the oven, wait another 15 minutes. So it's 25 minutes, okay? That's sitting on our backsides doing nothing. In 25 minutes, with raw ingredients, you can make a really tasty dish. For example, one which I do, which the boys quite like, is chicken and leek stroganoff. 20 minutes from start to finish with rice and a salad. Wonderful. Much better for you than I've got some pizzas in the...
Well, who needs to eat out if you can make great food at home?
Well, because eating out of those is also about the occasion. It depends who
you're very busy, so how do you find the time to do it?
It takes... it is...
That sounds like a
what's worse,
funny question.
And then during lockdown, I was trying to make it so that everybody could eat together. And of course,
then you had plenty of time.
You have more time. And then a schedule so that the three of us can more or less eat at the same time has become impossible because everybody's going off and doing different things. Some food, it doesn't matter. Like the thing I made yesterday, the chicken basque, which is that can sit in the pot and be heated up the next day. But
stews are good; they can wait around.
Yeah, but
and they're even better later.
Yes, often they taste better later. The lasagna even tastes better the next day as well.
Lasagna is one of those things that needs to sink into itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But some things you make, like if I make fish and chips, with beer batter, you really have to eat the fish when it's straight out of the pan, when it's ready. You can't sort of leave it sitting around and heat it up later, because you'll just end up with soggy batter. Well,
you'll have to think of something new. We'll think of something new together. Yeah. Maybe I'll join in next time. And we'll do another series, and maybe we'll do some kind of meal like what you're talking about. I had
no idea before I started that there were different types of flour. I mean,
well, I know there's brown and white.
Yeah, but
and different substances make
plain
rice flour,
and bread flour is very different.
Yeah.
You can't make bread. Well, you can. But bread, if you make bread from other non-bread flour, it's just very crumbly. It's just not really...
Non-wheat, you mean?
Yeah, well, no, I just mean non-bread flour.
Oh, what's not called
without the protein that you get in bread flour, because it doesn't hold together as well.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what gave these soft rolls the bounce. You squeeze them and they bounce back, if you noticed, as you were gobbling it down. Yeah. Whereas if you get a piece of processed bread and you sort of squeeze and it's dead,
You have to add some of this to your Facebook page.
I will do, yes.
What's it called?
Nico's Nosh.
Nico's Nosh. Niko Nosh.
Yes, yeah,
Nico's Nosh.
Yes.
Okay, if you want to see more of Nick's swell cooking, go to his Facebook page. It's called Nico's Nosh. This has been Poland Daily Travel. I am Will Richardson. This is
Nicholas Richardson.
Nicholas Richardson, no relation, but I have the genealogists working on it. And thank you for watching. It's been a lot of fun, and we will combine this whole cooking of process of making the bread and making the pie, the tart, into one longer semi-documentary that you can watch on Facebook. I'm sorry, on YouTube and Facebook eventually too. Okay? Thanks for watching. Nick, thank you very much for hosting us in your lovely
thank you for coming.
house.
It's been great fun.
Yeah.
We must do it again.
A very civilized afternoon.
Indeed it was.
Yeah. Okay. See you next time.